Welcome to Tab Briefs, a weekly look at headlines from the world of faith for December 18th, 2020. I'm Tab Media Content Editor Carrie McWhorter, and here are some of the headlines that grabbed our attention this week. First up, a bill filed earlier this month could block transgender athletes from participating in women's college sports. U.S. Representative Tulsi Gabbard of Hawaii, who was a Democratic presidential candidate, sponsored the bill with Republican Representative Markwayne Mullin of Oklahoma. The bipartisan legislation would keep athletes who consider themselves transgender or non-binary from competing in women's sports on the college level. The bill has been referred to the House Committee on Education and Labor. If passed, the bill could stop federal money from going to organizations that allow athletes to participate in programs that do not match their biological sex at birth. The bill, called the Protect Women's Sports Act of 2020, is based on Title IX, a 1972 law forbidding gender-based discrimination in schools receiving federal funds. Gabbard said Title IX was a historic provision that led to a generational shift that impacted countless women and created life-changing opportunities for girls and women that never existed before. However, she said, Title IX is being weakened by some states who are misinterpreting Title IX, creating uncertainty, undue hardship, and lost opportunities for female athletes. And on Monday, the U.S. Supreme Court chose not to hear an Indiana case involving issues related to same-sex couples. The High Court did not comment on its refusal to hear the case, Box v. Henderson, which involves the listing of parents on Indiana birth certificates. In Indiana, when a married opposite-sex couple uses a sperm donor to conceive, Indiana lists the birth mother's husband as the child's parent. But in cases of same-sex parents, the state does not list the mother's spouse as the child's parent. In a January decision, the 7th U.S. Circuit Court of Appeals ruled in favor of the plaintiffs, 8 lesbian couples who use sperm donors. The court agreed that the U.S. Supreme Court precedent requires that if opposite-gender parents are listed as parents on the child's birth certificate, then the state must also list same-sex parents on the child's birth certificate if the couples conceived in the same way. Obergefell v. Hodges, the Supreme Court case which legalized same-sex marriage nationwide in 2015, was one of the rulings the judges used to make the argument in the Indiana case. And finally this week, the first vaccines for COVID-19 were given across the country. Alabama's first shots were given on Tuesday, and CBS News reported that 3 former prisoners of war were among the first Alabamians to receive the vaccine at the Birmingham VA Medical Clinic. Frontline medical personnel and senior adults were prioritized in the limited first round of vaccines. Additional supplies are expected in the coming weeks, and federal authorities are expected as soon as today to grant emergency authorization to a second vaccine. But many Americans remain skeptical. According to a new Associated Press poll, nearly half of Americans, including many religious ones, aren't sure if they will get the vaccine or they just don't plan to get it at all. And that has led to a growing number of faith leaders and religious groups stepping out to promote the use of vaccines or even offering their facilities to help with distribution in 2021. In a Religion News Service report this week, Rabbi Julie Schonfeld, who is pursuing a graduate degree in public health, said faith leaders can help bring an end to the COVID-19 pandemic by helping people overcome their doubts about vaccinations. And last week, Russell Moore, head of the Southern Baptist Convention's Ethics and Religious Liberty Commission, hosted a conversation about the pandemic with National Institutes of Health head Francis Collins, who has been outspoken about his own Christian faith. Moore told Religion News that helping churches navigate this deadly pandemic is his top priority right now, to help dispel myths and misinformation about vaccination and treatments for COVID-19. The Trump administration has reportedly reached out to Black churches in an effort to help alleviate concerns in that community about forthcoming vaccines. And this morning, it was reported that Vice President Mike Pence received the vaccine himself. On Monday, Albert Mohler, president of Southern Baptist Theological Seminary, wrote in a blog post that he plans to take the vaccine as soon as it's available to him. Mohler said he is guided toward his position in large part by the common good argument in the Christian tradition, the teaching of Jesus to love our neighbors as ourselves. Christians thinking about the issue of the vaccine must weigh this key biblical principle as part of their thinking, Moeller said in his blog post. Those are your tab briefs for Friday, December 18th, 2020. For more news from the world of faith, head over to tabonline.org. Thanks for joining us today, and we hope you have a great weekend.